Hey guys, it's Mr. Lowry. This is number 11 from your Using Theorems and Postulates for Problem Solving worksheet. Sorry, the name of this is kind of wordy. It's this worksheet right here. We did some problem solving practice in class using figures and things like that, but I wanted to look at number 11 really quick because there's going to be a problem similar to number 11 on your test. And the way I set this up here is I gave you a problem and then I give you step-by-step steps, I guess. I gave you some steps to help you get the rest of the way. So on your test, you're not going to have those steps A, B, C, and D. So let's go through this together and talk about what we need to do. All right, first off, let's read it thoroughly. Angle 1 and angle 2 form a linear pair. Okay, the measure of angle 2 is 5 less than 4 times the measure of angle 1. Find the measure of angle 1 and 2. Okay, so there's a lot of information there. We have to start unpacking it. The first thing is that they form a linear pair. Okay, so linear pair and supplement theorem kind of go together. The supplement theorem that says if two angles form a linear pair, then they add to 180. So I would start by writing that out. Measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 2 equals 180. Now we want to find their measures eventually. That's where we're going. This is a good place to start. That idea of linear pair, what does that mean? Do some inference, right? Use the supplement theorem. Okay, so we don't know the measures of either of these. These are unknowns, and we don't have to use variables here, but I think sometimes it can be helpful. So this is what I say here. We don't know the measures of either angle, so let's assign some variables. Measure of angle 1 equals x, so we'll call this guy x. But we actually have some information about the measure of angle 2. We know it's 5 less than 4 times the measure of angle 1. So if the measure of angle 1 is equal to x, we can write an expression for this guy in terms of x. Okay? One of the tricky things is this guy, 5 less than. Usually when you see less than, you think subtract, which is right. But 5 less than 4 times, a lot of times what we want to do is 5 less than 4 times the measure. But this is not what we want, even though that's the order that we read it in. Less than means I'm subtracting from something else. Right? So it's less than something, which means I'm subtracting 5 from something, and it's less than 4 times the measure of angle 1, which we called x. So this is what we want right here. Whenever you see the less than, this keyword than means that number is subtracted from something else. 5 is being subtracted from 4 times angle 1. So this is what we want here. Okay, now we don't have to do it that way. We could have done something like this. If we didn't want to use variables, we could use measure of angle 1 and 4 times the measure of angle 1 minus 5. But you can see how that kind of starts to get a little bit messy. So that's why I used the variable x. A little bit easier to do some algebra with. Okay, use the information above to write and solve an equation for x. So the measure of angle 1 we called x. Okay, the measure of angle 2 we set up an expression for that, and it's 4x minus 5, and all that's supposed to be equal to 180. So I take this relationship here, and I start substituting in the expressions that I made. And combine like terms here, we're going to get 5x minus 5 equals 180. Okay, now we just solve for x. So add 5 here, add 5 here, 5x equals 185. Divide both sides by 5. So I'm just going to pull up my calculator here. All right, so this is 37. X equals 37. Okay. Now, that's not our final answer because the question was asking for the measures of angle 1 and 2. So x is the measure of angle 1. So measure of angle 1 equals 37. Okay, that's awesome. But the other angle we need to find as well, measure of angle 2. There's a couple ways to do this, and we can actually use this as a check. Since we know they form a linear pair, they're supposed to add up to 180. So what I can do is I can take 180 and I can subtract 37, and that should be my other angle, 143. I can also plug that x back in here and make sure that that makes sense. So if I put a 37 in here, that's 4 times 37 minus 5. So let's do 4 times 37, okay, and then we're going to minus 5. Also 143. So whether I, plug this back in to get it, or I use it, they have to combine to 180, I get the same thing. So let's say I did the other way around. Let's say I plugged this in here first, and that's how I got that. Well, if I did that, then I would just add these two together and make sure that they are supplementary, make sure they actually do add up to 180. So I'd say, okay, I got 37 for the first one. I plugged in my x value, and I got 143 for the second angle. Those better be supplementary, and they do. They come out to 180. So these are our two angles there. Again, you don't have to assign variables. I think it's helpful in this case. If you didn't, what your equation might look like is something like this. Measure of angle 1 plus 4 times the measure of angle 1 minus 5 equals 180, right? And again, you can do it this way, but this is kind of an ugly thing to do algebra with. So you start by just labeling the first unknown x, so you're not really sure what it is. And then the second one you have information about. So you write an expression for the second one in terms of the first one. And that's kind of how you do a problem like this. So there's going to be one like this on your test. It's going to be similar. I'm just not going to give you the A, B, C, and D. I'm just going to give you this part. Okay, so we talked about problem solving in class today and yesterday. And part of problem solving process is breaking things down into steps. And so I'm trying to show you the steps that you would kind of go through in your mind that would help you take care of this problem a piece at a time. And if you understand that process when you see a problem like this in the future, you can go through these steps kind of on your own mentally. I hope that helps, and good luck on your test coming up. Thanks.